Hey, gun. Yeah. They know what time it is.
I got so much energy.
Gun Decker, you know how we coming, yeah, it's run DFS where we don't just play it, we run it. Weather for the long, couple dawns, a couple of buckets, guarantee the chat. Check a bag like we carrying luggage round here. Everybody fan, we don't care about the budget round here. You can turn your cash to a couple of hundred round here. No days off, every day we be hustling, tell them good luck, God bless, go win you some money. Get a pen and a pad and come see where it really take you. Went from 50-50 cash in a hit in the milli maker. Got the updated news and the status on any player. The chalk of the night, do we lock it or do we fade it? They ask me how I'm doing, I tell them I feel it blessed. If you want a slow grind, go place a single bet. Trying to get rich, parlays or boost the odds. Soon you'll be cashing and dancing with the stars. NBA, NFL, the MLB up in VIP. Balling like we want a GPP. 15 minutes to lock and there's a DMP, no sweat. We gon' figure that out and we'll still bing. But remember that it's a marathon and not a race. You gotta put your heart in it no matter how long it takes. 8, 9, 10 next got me sitting in first place. Top value player of the day, let's break the slate.
Break the slate. We should have known. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. There we go. Fudge. There's so many screens. There we go. There we go. We're starting off hot. What up, chat? How we doing? How we living? I think that last line was in honor of Donovan Mitchell. Maybe maybe Klay Thompson. Man, what a night yesterday was. What up, Moose? Prayers for DeMar, yes sir. What up, Casey? What up, Maine AOD, Doctor Strange, Mike Richardson? Hope you guys are doing all right today. Dang lazy mofo in the chat. Dave Figueroa. I once fought a dude in prison with that last name. Hopefully it wasn't you. What up, Young C? The track, by the way, done by Young C. Is this the thing where the chat's not working? Maybe the chat. I don't know. We need to let me test chat. Test. There we go. There we go. Now it's working. Man, how we doing? Happy Tuesday, y'all. It's only a 3-game slate tonight, so we can be a little bit more laid back. Cadillac Jack on a Tuesday, and then tomorrow another big time slate. But yeah, if you missed the first look show this morning, talked a little bit about last night. Top of the board, Donovan Mitchell, 102.5 fantasy points on DraftKings, 71 real points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists. I had action on his assist prop over 6, so that hit. But man, if you bet anything over on Donovan Mitchell this year, you hit. And then Klay Thompson, double overtime, 54 points, 8 rebounds, nailed 10 threes. Luka, and I said it this morning. If you guys played Luka as well, didn't it feel like Luka wasn't really right? That first half was meh. I was not rage tweeting, but I was like, it stressed out because my plan of attack yesterday was Luka and LeBron as much as possible. And Luka and LeBron were your third and fourth highest scorers on the slate. Don't really mean a whole lot when you're 30 points behind the top scorer. So, but for Luka to have the first half that he had and still ended up being the third highest scorer on the slate, it's just kind of crazy, man. That's Luka basketball. He's different with it, right? Joel Embiid, 67. We were worrying about in prison. No, I wasn't. I was in the gray side of prison there, KJ. I wasn't locked up, but it's all the same. You know, I just got to go home every 12 hours. What up, Top Pillar? Hope you're doing all right. Paul and Boats, what up, dude? Hope y'all are all right. Yeah, so Joel Embiid, we thought that maybe he might rest, but he didn't, and he showed up and dropped a run-in-the-mill 67 fantasy points. DeMar DeRozan, in overtime, 64. That was on the opposite side of Donovan Mitchell. Trae Young, DeJounte Murray on the opposite side of that big Klay game, 62-54. So there was just a lot of high scores yesterday. Maybe tonight doesn't relive the craziness of last night, but that's the beauty of DFS, right? No two slates are often the same. And tonight's just kind of a yuckier board of options. So hopefully we're able to navigate, make a little bit of change for tomorrow. I'm certainly not going to go at normal volume on this slate just because it doesn't look like a fun slate to sweat, but it should be over pretty quickly, right? So first of all, it is an hour late lock than usual, but 2 games right at lock and then 1 game an hour later. It should play kind of like a turbo, and we'll get it over with. So if we get out there, get some action, get it over with, and then we are on to the next one, and then we'll do a stream tonight for tomorrow's slate, and then we'll also come back tomorrow with it. So if you guys are around tonight lurking, maybe you're playing Madden, you're playing whatever you play, looking for some background noise, look for the channel, man. I know a lot of you guys don't know to look for the first look video because it's only been out for 2 days, but it's out there. We're bringing that back, just like the olden days. So yeah, let's get caught up on chat some more. Gotcha. Yeah, so KJ, a lot of people, I mean, I guess people do know this because somebody tweeted at me once, but I used to be a sergeant of corrections in Texas. So I seen things. I've had a crazy life, and I've had a lot of fights. And I remember specifically a dude named Figueroa. I got into a fight with once. But what are you gonna do? I just get to go home to Gale. Yeah. I mean, if you know, you know, right? Some of you guys might have been jailers or whatever. It's both sides get institutionalized pretty quickly. It is different, right? Don't get me wrong. It is different, but there's a lot of similarities. If that was Rikers Island and that was me, nah, it wasn't Rikers Island. What's up, Crispy? I hope you're doing all right. What's up, the boy from Cali? Hope y'all are doing all right. Anyway, I guess let's flip over to tonight's slate. We'll be using the new. If you guys haven't seen it, I launched a new spreadsheet. Coded it over the weekend. I decided that I wasn't happy with kind of how primitive it played out. So I kind of revamped what the index portal looked like, but I also added the advanced look that expedites the process of finding some advanced metrics, like for instance, overall usage rates, team offensive ratings, defensive ratings when they're on the court, and then cross-reference the matchup. So like yesterday, I was actually on Donovan Mitchell 3-point attempts. Because this chart right here showed me that the Bulls allow a high success rate of 3-pointers, right? So already seeing dividends here. So if you guys want to add this to your research repertoire of tools, it is behind the paywall at rundfs.com. We'll talk more about that in a little bit, but I do want to announce that today we launched it's usually the All-Star break to All-Star break package. It's a little bit earlier now, so it's up there. So the MLB All-Star break is on July 11th, so that's available now. You can lock in for the whole year, but if your money ain't that long and you still want a little bit of bulk savings while also getting some Fantasy Cruncher credit, there's a $100 credit to Fantasy Cruncher built in to this one. So you almost rebate that down to $299. That'll get you locked in until the baseball All-Star game. So that'll wrap up basketball, wrap up the playoffs for football, and then of course get the first half of the baseball season, and then the year pass will do all that as well, and then all the other passes there for the taking. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Hey, today is also Taco Tuesday, so what are we looking like over there? I think I saw that Jaylen Brown was the taco. Here we go. I'm in a lot of Discords. What up, Doug? Nate D, Josh in the chat. I saw Josh last night. Open up PrizePicks. What are we doing? All right, let's see. Taco voting. We need chalk value on DK. Do we need a chalk value or do we want chalk? No, see. All right, that's hockey. I don't think about hockey. So it looks like Jaylen Brown. Yeah, Jaylen Brown's the first taco. So is that already live? Or is that over? No, it's gonna launch at the top of the hour, right? Or am I tripping? And then they usually do the second taco on Twitter. So the Jaylen Brown discount is to 22.5 points. All right, cool. All right, so we'll keep that in mind when we research the slate a little bit more. What up, Smoothie? Hope you're doing all right. Man, a lot of you guys coming in early. I keep track of every day of like what kind of numbers we do. Like Monday afternoon, it doesn't get any traction. I think it's because there's a lot of NFL content. But Tuesdays and Wednesdays and even Fridays, they be jumping. I didn't expect nobody to be here for a 3-gamer, right? It's over. It's already come and gone. I guess I did start an hour later than usual because of the late lock. All right, that makes sense. All right, so ignore the last 2 minutes. Let's talk about game 1. Washington Wizards at the Milwaukee Bucks. Project starting 5 for the Wizards: Monte Morris, Bradley Beal, Kyle Kuzma, Kristaps Porzingis, and Daniel Gafford taking on Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Brook Lopez. We got 230 total and a 7.5 spread. Point spread in favor of the home team Milwaukee Bucks. I don't know if I'm reading too much into that spread, but that kind of made me think that Bill would play. Let me see, NBA Roto World depth chart. I keep calling it Roto World, but it's NBC Sports Edge. Let's see if there's been an update from last night on Bradley Beal's status. Move this over here, and we'll be able to go back and forth. What's up, Justin Sports? Hope you're doing all right. Monster. I don't even know what I don't know if this has a flavor. It just says Zero Ultra. That's the drink of the day. I need to cycle back into some bangs. I figure I'd do some coffee tonight. Washington questionable for Beal. It looks like we did lose that Daniel Gafford tag. Bradley Beal participated fully in team shoot around this morning and is questionable for Tuesday's game against the Bucks. So he's missed the last 3 games, blah, 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 blah. So he's carrying that Q tag, but the fact that he was a full participant in practice kind of makes me lean closer to in, which does give us a Wizards team that's a little bit harder to call pre-flop. But man, on a 3-game slate, I've talked about this concept last night. I don't really need this full sellout for ceiling return on price points today. I think my goal on these smaller slates is just go out there and get some points. Because, 6 teams versus last night, 20 teams. And if you consider the Thunder a team, it could just be a 5-game slate to you. An AK-38, an AK-35 still might be live to be in the winning lineup. So if this was a full slate, I might be more pessimistic about attacking the Wizards in single to 20 entry to 50 lineups. But I think today I won't be. An 8K on Bradley Beal, if he's off the chain, that's a really low price for a matchup that's going to require scoring more than not, right? The Bucks are a pretty solid offense when they're firing on all cylinders here. So a little bit more attackable. Maybe I feel a little bit better about this spot than I did last night, just for the interest of I don't know, game theory here. We'll look up the Wizards and all 3 on the court at the same time. Do you guys have a lean on how to attack the Wizards today? I'm thinking that maybe one of the rules we could accomplish with a solid process would be to put Bradley Beal, Porzingis, and Kuzma in a group on Fantasy Cruncher and say I wouldn't want 3 of these guys in the same lineup, right? And even 2 feels like a stretch for a normal slate, but 3 together, I don't know. All of them averaging over a fantasy point per minute for DraftKings while on the court together, but Porzingis is the guy that leads the way. Beal and Porzingis have comparable usage rates, 25.6, 26.1, and Kuzma's still over 22. So maybe even trying to split the difference between 2 or 3 could be stretching it, but it does feel like 2 of 3, like you're not going to get ceiling games from 3 of 3. So I do feel like 2 or 3 is the most responsible approach when it comes to these guys. But I don't know. How are you guys approaching the Wizards, if you're even playing the Wizards? Just foreshadowing the late game, all eyes will likely be on the Jazz in Sacramento and how can we jam in 4 players from that game, and that makes a lot of sense. But I do think we have extra time. We got time today to do our due diligence on proper tournament strategy and game theory on how we deal with the Wizards here. And I think that's how I would approach it. And I think because of the prices, I'd likely end up with more Kuzma and Beal than Porzingis at 9.5 and 9.4. But all of them projecting decently enough on a 3-game slate. So when we look at soft projections, we just ran a sweep before we went live. It's Giannis, and then there's the rest of the slate. Giannis has a 10-point gap between him and the number 2 guy in the soft projections, and then there's Sabonis, SGA, and then there's Porzingis. So you get to the mid-40s really quick, and that's not usual for NBA DFS, right? So that's what I mean by being able to accept mid-40s today a little bit faster. And Beal and Kuzma are knocking right on the door of 40. So we're still talking, top 12 fantasy projection. So I don't know. Let's see what you guys got. Bang got sued by Monster for $290. That's crazy. Why? I read somebody was telling me something about a bankruptcy trial or something with Bang, but I don't get into politics. I just drink the caffeine and like the flavor, right? What a Keith. They were bottom 5 and allowed threes for Porzingis at center. Tons of threes with Wizards giving up tons of threes with the 2 center starting lineup. They were bottom 5. Oh, that's a good stat, Josh. Let's look at the team metrics chart and see what the season overall number is. 3-pointers made. Oh wait, that's offense. Doi. Rockets, T-Wolves, Bulls, and Wizards are on the season better than average, but you're saying when they run Porzingis and Gafford, their perimeter defense suffers. That's logical. That makes sense. Do we think that they run Porzingis and Gafford together today? I do think that there's a possibility they don't, right? But I guess you still maybe want some type of beef with Giannis and Brolo. But one of the guys we were talking about last night too was Rui Hachimura at 4,500 on DraftKings. So you guys were asking about chalk value plays. I haven't looked at ownership projections, but Rui was one of the names that stood out last night. Maybe Gafford's Q tag made me a little bit more in like with him. But now that they're fully healthy, I might be less than aggressive on it. But it's kind of like yesterday with TJ Warren. TJ Warren ended up being like 25% owned anyway on FanDuel. So maybe Rui's just one of those shots in the dark here. I'm looking at the Cruncher imported ownership projections. I don't see him up here. I have 1 in 5 owned, so maybe Rui gets there. What's up, Hoops? Any nice looking prize pick props yet? Man, I don't think I'm gonna be super enthralled with this slate for prop betting, but I'll try to get 3 like we did yesterday. But it is rough, and just looking at the Wizards side of things right now, I think there's enough volatility through and through that it's gonna be hard to sink our teeth into one guy we like the most. So I'm already disqualifying the Wizards right now from consideration when it comes to prop betting. Maybe. Let's see. Let's look at that last minute rotation. Yeah, it's gonna be a grind to find some prize pick plays that I like. Hopefully the next taco is decent, and we would only have to look at maybe one less prop to find some value. Beal and Kuzma have easy matchups. Grayson Allen, Patsy's defense, Porzingis, Giannis matchup. That makes a lot of sense, Josh. I think if I had to create a hierarchy, it would be Beal 1, Kuzma 2, Porzingis. I do think that's also price related, but you're right, the matchup's fine. But depending on the starting lineup for the Wizards, I think Brolo was one of the DPOY candidates right now. He's been really, really rough. 2.6 blocks per game right now. Tripster, appreciate that sub, man. Welcome to the channel. So I don't know that the matchup is pristine in any individual matchup. Overall, the Bucks defense plays well. Some of that is considering Chris Middleton playing time. Middleton's missed enough that the numbers should be somewhat normalized. The Bucks have the 4th best defensive rating in basketball, so I don't think it's necessarily a super plus spot at any individual spot, but yes, Grayson and maybe Connaughton would be the two that I'd be most likely to attack. And if you can switch off the screen and get one of them on you, like a Bradley Beal or Kuzma, yeah, I'm fine with that. All right, on the Bucks side, let's run the on-off for Giannis and Drew. So ownership, let me look at ownership again. Giannis was in about 3 out of every 10 lineups on the Cruncher ownership pool, which I believe come from Stochastic. Let's play Giannis, Drew. So I guess that would be another game theory question that I want to throw at you guys, chat. When you're building your lineups tonight, is Giannis a priority for you? My quick answer would probably be yes, because he is projected to score 10 more than anyone else, and I do feel like on any slate, or at least a smaller slate like this, 10 fantasy points means more. The raw points mean more for me today, so I probably do try to see what it takes to get Giannis into my lineups. But at the same time, I do think you can make some fun non-Giannis lineups that involve relying heavily on like the Bucks and the Kings and Jazz game. So like double stacking maybe Sabonis and Fox and whatnot. Giannis and Drew both over a fantasy point per minute in this split without Middleton. Almost a 1.7 fantasy point per minute rate on DraftKings, over 1.6 on FanDuel. So super solid spot, no matter what. And the fact that the spread is single digits and maybe giving us an opportunity for the Bucks to play deeper into the fourth quarter, yeah, it just makes sense to want to get to Giannis at an aggressive clip. So my answer would be yes, I want to prioritize Giannis, but I completely understand not. And I think maybe something I'll do is I'll gravitate towards being over the field on Giannis in my multi-mass entry 2050 lineups, and then maybe I'll fade Giannis in single entry, and we'll see what the ownership projections look like closer to lock, because I don't think Sabonis is a secret, but at last glance Sabonis was coming in lesser owned than Giannis. Not that I expect Sabonis to outscore Giannis, but that's like $2,000 in salary savings I might be able to divvy up amongst the rest of the roster. So maybe that's how I'll do it. I'll keep them in mass entry and then reverse it in single entry. And I feel like my last two big single entry nights have been fading the guy that drops 90 or 100. I didn't have Donovan in my single entry last night. I didn't have Luka on Saturday. Vic says I'm fading Giannis. Giannis over 12.5 rebounds. That's a tough one. 12.5 is a big number for anyone. Looking at the Wizards, they allow a 74% defensive rebound rate, which is a positive matchup. So it makes sense. That's just I usually don't get up into 12.5. That's like old school Rudy Gobert numbers, right? Derek White over 6.5 PRA. You like that drip? I can get behind that. We'll look at that in the next game. So anyway, Drew Holiday stands out as a click for me. Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, these tertiary supplementary guys, they're not going to be fun to play. But I do think right now, since we have no real must-click value, like maybe we'll get that Kings information on Herter and Malik Monk with enough time, because it is only an hour after main slate locks, and we can make some decisions there. But I think we have to have Grayson Allen and Pat Connaughton in the player pool, and I don't know if I'll stagger rules between those two, but this might be a night where a get me by 20 fantasy point game from one of those guys might still keep your lineup live at the end of the night, because of how low scoring this slate kind of projects, right? A lot of ugly teams in concentrated usage spots. And then, like I said, Rui Hachimura, I might keep in my back pocket. 4,500 on DK. I don't mind getting to him. So if we're just looking for a couple sub 5K specials, he stands out well for me. A little less than a point per minute versus the projection. And Allen and Connaughton, never warm and fuzzies on them. I probably lean to Connaughton if I had to, but we'll see if that is for sure going to be the starting lineup. Yeah. I think we have a bad game today, but I'm playing single entry for Giannis. I don't know if I don't think I have a bad game, but it's Giannis. All right, Celtics at the Thunder. Marcus Smart, Derek White, Jaylen Brown. Got to make sure I had the right playlist on. Jason Tatum and Al Horford taking on SGA, Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, and Jalen Williams. The Jalen ratio is strong in this game. 232.5 total, 8.5 point spread in favor of the visiting Boston Celtics. This is coinciding with the other game at lock. We've got Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum both priced appropriately, right? I don't think that we're getting a big value here, but we are getting 27.1 points per game out of Jaylen Brown, 31 points per game out of Jason Tatum. And as of now, the spread is still single digits, even though the Thunder are bad and the Celtics are essentially the best team in basketball. So we leave the door open for the scoreboard to get lopsided. But we really, I don't know, I really don't want to be too scared of scoreboards on a 3-game slate, especially when 2 of them are games that I could see getting lopsided. But this one seems more blowout risky than the other one, just because the Thunder are so bad. The rotational pieces for the Thunder are predictably unpredictable. It does feel like every game at halftime, the Thunder coach makes adjustments, and we start seeing a different unit start the second half. In the last game, we saw both Jalen Williams get benched in lieu of Mike Muscala, Kenrich Williams, and then they went from there. They still got playing time, but it is a nuisance to have to deal with, and it doesn't really seem like we miss out on much, at least on a bigger slate for fantasy purposes. But on the small slate, right, 3,300 Jalen Williams, 18-24 minute window. What's the least you would take on a 3-game slate? I'll let you guys wrestle with that one. I'm going to do my best to not have to rely on Thunder nobodies for single entry tonight. And in multi-mass entry, I'll probably spray and pray them all with very low exposure caps, if that makes sense, right? So I probably wouldn't want to be more than 10% invested on anyone in mass entry, and I would probably set some rules, maybe, to distinguish between them. But I just basically got 11 to 20 minutes on everyone, not named SGA and Josh Giddey and Lou Dort. So if I want to get to 3 guys with a little bit more confidence, just based on opportunity, it's those 3. Everyone else is vomit. Williams to Williams to Williams shoots. I'm picking all the Williams today. I'd rather play Mike Moustakas before playing Mike Muscala. I will give, Mike Muscala, I think per minute, still getting you some production. Well, maybe. That 35 fantasy point game against San Antonio was a revelation, but that was also San Antonio, the best matchup you could ask for. But yes, I'm in agreement with the sentiment here that all these bums on the Thunder just don't do it for me. And it does feel like the key to the slate eventually is going to be which random Thunder bum gets you 25. And I hate that that's the game we have to play, but it is the game that we have to play. SGA, thinking out loud here, I wouldn't expect SGA to carry a ton of ownership versus what else is on the board, right? If I'm thinking a double, $10,000 investment, down payment on a brand new Giannis Antetokounmpo, Tatum's in the same game. That's money for Domantas Sabonis. I feel like I would have those guys above SGA, which would make perhaps SGA a little bit more lucrative on a 3-game slate when you consider guys that could realistically contribute 50 fantasy points, he's one of them. So maybe his low ownership is the lean, right? If you guys talked about fading Giannis at single entry, maybe a guy like SGA in a tough matchup is the pivot for extreme leverage. But obviously the matchup doesn't warrant getting the warm and fuzzies. All of the Celtics are in play for me, even Al Horford. Do we get an update on Robert Williams? I know he was a rest candidate for injury or load management last night. I feel like this is a perfect matchup to sit him down. Where's ownership on these guys? So I think the best ownership projection is from Stochastic, but this isn't a Stochastic show, so I can't, like, I don't want to give away their proprietary information without their blessing. You know what I mean? So we're not going to put that up there. But I do cherry pick on my second screen, just kind of see topical stuff. I don't think they would be mad, but it's a respecting. Questionable period of 4 straight games. Okay, so if Robert Williams can't go, I do think it creates a higher floor of minutes for Al Horford. And then Grant Williams, I think, benefits here, and he is really cheap on DraftKings at 3,500. So that would probably be somebody on a slate like this where I'm looking to lean on value. And I also think you can make the case that Grant Williams would benefit if this scoreboard got out of control. Maybe in the back end, a Luke Cornett or a Blake Griffin benefit, but I really don't want to play one of them. So I guess what I would do with Robert Williams is out news is feel better about playing Grant Williams, if that makes sense. If Robert Williams did play, he's been a permanent monster, and at 4,200 on DraftKings wouldn't have to do a whole lot. I gave him 20 minutes, and the production right now, the model based on the matchup, based on his production, just incredible returns here. So if he was in, I'd play him, but I'm getting the sense that maybe this is the rest spot. So hopefully he does chill here. Do the Celtics play tomorrow? Grant is a lock if Rob is out. Yeah. Let me see if I bring up tomorrow's schedule. Tomorrow, Celtics don't play tomorrow. All right, I was going to see if they were on a back-to-back. Then it would have made a lot more sense to project them to be down. But they're not. And they don't have to travel too far. OKC to Dallas isn't that bad for 2 days, you know. But I think all the Celtics are in the pool for me. Probably cap the team at 3. Marcus Smart's going to look solid for me. Derek White, not as much, but I still get an okay projection to put in the blender. I do think with the Celtics is a spot where I can make some group rules in Fantasy Cruncher. For instance, Marcus Smart, Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon, and maybe Jaylen Brown gets thrown into the blender, but maybe not. Maybe I just don't want more than one of Smart, White, or Brogdon in the same lineup. Maybe 2. And then Jaylen Brown to Jason Tatum. Usually these two on a slate, I set a rule that I only want one of these two. But I feel like tonight, there's no rules. There's one rule. Put your shirt back on. That commercial is great. I feel like tonight I'm going to meditate on whether or not I want to set that rule tonight, right? Could they combine for 100 to 120 on a 3-game slate, and would that make you live? I think we're paying max price for them, so it makes less sense now. But I also don't think I'm gonna get a ton of overlap naturally when I just fire off the opto. So we'll see. Do you guys have any distinguishments between Brown and Tatum? I think I'm gonna let it rip and see what those lineups look like. If there's too much overlap, I'll probably put a human filter on it. But from this far out, I probably won't. Yeah. All right. And then we only got one game left. Man, we're thumbing. All right, let's do a plug, man. We got to shout out one of the reasons why these shows are free on the daily, and that is our partners, our friends at PrizePicks.com. If you guys are not on PrizePicks, I implore you to get on there. It's a lot of fun to take advantage of the research you're already doing Tonight's slate, not as sexy, not as fun, but it is Taco Tuesday, and they do have more than just NBA. But tomorrow's a big slate. I love the big slate for PrizePicks. Last night, I went to, I think I posted 4 or 5 picks, so we discussed them in the Discord. Only one of them missed, and that was LaMelo assist. So it was a profitable night on PrizePicks. So definitely look for ways to diversify your investment into the space, especially as it gets harder and harder on the DFS side. And I think PrizePicks is that play for me. I love playing over there. So tomorrow definitely would be a good slate to maybe get your feet wet on the basketball side of things. What's different about PrizePicks than other sites? Well, I love the fact that you can chop props into first half, and you can take wagers on fantasy points. And because we've been so conditioned to research fantasy points, and I actually have a model to project FanDuel fantasy points, which is linear to the PrizePicks scoring, that's been my lane to attack. So check that out if you haven't already. If you sign up using code GUNDACKER, they show me some love, but they will also double your first deposit up to $100. So a $20 bill becomes $40. Instant site credit, none of that slow drip nonsense, none of that play through it 20 times and then rebate it and then write your Congress. None of that nonsense, man. Get in the game, get in the action. And if I can find a couple that I can get behind, I'll post it in the free Discord and in the rundfs.com Discord. NBA doesn't provide their own for positional DVT. Most sites are. DVP is definitely very flimsy, but it's something, right? I think there's a lot of stats that can be misused and misappropriated. StatMuse right now, I love StatMuse to death, but there's so much prop betting content that is misusing StatMuse. Like, he's done this against the Thunder in the last 10 games. Or we're talking 3 seasons ago on a different team. It takes out the context. So I let all the different stats tell the story, right? But yeah, DVP is one of them, right? It is. I think it's under-respected, because I think we can look at DVP and see a lot of success, especially with this much sample size. But I would never want to just create a lineup based on DVP, if that makes sense. What up, Jermaine? I miss you. What up, Jim Thomas? Who else did I miss? Anybody? All right. Could probably use something like MP. Points in the paint, threes are starting points. Yeah. I think that's really fantastic. I actually I'm trying to figure out how to display this information, but right now in the feeds, since we got time, I'll open up the stat feeds. So one of the tabs that I want to develop is, and I'm wondering how valuable it will be from information that I'm pulling, is points via like distance from the basket. So then, like, I'm right now I'm just leaving it as simple, where it's points in the paint or threes. But there are teams that, give up defending long twos, stuff like that, and there are players that will take those. Where do I have that in this one? Maybe I don't have it in this tab. But I want to design a spreadsheet that'll cross-reference, or not a spreadsheet, a tab that will take the dueling information and maybe identify some of the hotspot opportunities. But right now, I'd rather just do the points in the paint, because I do feel like it's more stable. But there are guards like De'Aaron Fox. We'll talk about this. De'Aaron Fox, 23.4 points per game in the paint. 23.4 points per game. And in the paint, he scores 10.6 points per game. So almost half of his points are in the paint. That's an example. Him, John Morant's another one. Guys that attack the basket. So finding teams that allow higher levels of points in the paint, it's easy to just think that benefits the center, but that's not the case. But anyway, let's talk about this game, because this is the game tonight. Sacramento Kings at the Utah Jazz. Project starting 5 for the Kings: De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis, taking on Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, Larry Markkinen, Jared Vanderbilt, and Kelly Olynyk. A 242.5 total, 3.5 point spread in favor of the Utah Jazz. So everything in this game looks really doggone good. It's the highest total, highest pace, two of the worst defenses on this slate, and the tightest spread. So everything checks the boxes. On the Kings side, we are dealing with lingering GTD tags on Kevin Huerter and Malik Monk, and I believe we said this morning that they combined for just one missed game. So they've been kind of Iron Men. Looking at underdogs, Kevin Huerter back questionable. I don't even have a Malik Monk tag there, so let me go to NBC Sports Edge and see if they had an update or if it's more of the same from last night. Kevin Huerter. What happened to him last night? Okay, Jake, relax. Upper back soreness. He's only missed one game this season. Yeah. And then Malik Monk, right shoulder soreness. He has not missed a game. And I believe what we ended up going back to, I want to say it was like fudge. What was that game? Actually, it gives us the date. I lost the tab. There it is. It was the game against the Raptors where Terrence Davis started when Kevin Huerter was out. But Terrence Davis didn't play like a ton of minutes that game, but he was like usable. So we have a couple scenarios we should probably brace for. One, what happens if just Kevin Huerter's out? Two, what happens if just Malik Monk is out? And then three, what happens if they're both out? And it feels like what we want is for them to both be out, so the slate gives us some value. But it looks like Terrence Davis and Davion Mitchell would be the two guys that stand to benefit the most, just on a hunch. So let's go back to Sacramento. I believe that said December 14th, right? Go to the second page. That was against the Raptors. In that game, Terrence Davis started in lieu of Kevin Huerter. Malik Monk still came off the bench, offered 32 minutes, and closed out over Terrence Davis. So that is a precedent of what could happen in this scenario. And then Terrence Davis in those 24 minutes, I think wasn't that bad. I think his first quarter was really hot. He dropped 28 and a quarter fantasy points, 19 real points, 7 for 14 shooting. So probably shot a little over efficient, but that's fine. I think in this game we expect high scoring and high efficiency, and he would come in at only bare bones min price 3K. So it almost doesn't even matter when we talked about how rough this slate can be. So that's one thing that might open up later on in the day if we get Kevin Huerter news, and then if Malik Monk is down, it still might benefit Terrence Davis, but I also think we get some beneficial drip down to Davion Mitchell as well. So volatility no matter what, but it seems like reading the history and the minute rotation and the usage, that those are the two that we want to keep an eye on pending the Huerter and Monk news. With that said, if Huerter's down, Fox and Sabonis look that much better. They already look pretty doggone good. We'll pull up their on-off. Doing a few snake drafts tonight. Do like Sabonis over Tatum and SGA. So, taking out the humanistic side, Sabonis and Tatum for me have like a 1.5 point. Actually, I guess a 2 point difference in fantasy. There's something in my eye, and it's annoying. I have Tatum edging out Sabonis by just about 2 fantasy points. I do think Tatum's floor is probably a little lower in this spot. One, because everyone on the team has a great matchup. Jaylen Brown could pop off. And two, because the Thunder suck, right? Embiid without Harden was up 30 at half, right? So there's a chance that the best team in basketball just put away the Thunder. Meanwhile, the Sacramento Kings and the Utah Jazz project a little bit more of a shootout. So I think Sabonis is the more fun click. But if we're being honest, the projections like Tatum more. But the projection is giving this a 1-to-1 minute opportunity. And I don't know that Like, it's more of a gut thing. Like, it's just an 8-point spread, so it is what it is. But remember, the Sixers were 3-point favorites, and mollywopped the Thunder. The Thunder are just in a bad spot. So my gut lean would be, I think the Celtics put away the Thunder pretty easily. So I would lean Sabonis in a game that likely needs him more. But that's just me. EB, what up, EB? I just want to get better at doing research besides reacting to injury news. Okay. Let's see. How could we do that? What do? Do you just watch YouTube? That's not a bad start if the YouTuber or the analyst is got a sound process. So I guess what I would recommend, I want to get better at doing research besides just reacting to injury news. So NBA Wowie, and I use Add More Funds. This is, I don't know how much of this is free and how much of this is premium. It is worth the premium, I think. So if anybody wanted to get it, I forget how much, it might be $5-10 a month, something like that. That's the link. Understand what's going on in these games, right? Oftentimes people become high owned because the perception is that they'll benefit from someone else being out, and that's not really the case. So I think the two ways to maybe get better at research that you can do pretty easily is understand game flows, rotations, right? Who's playing with who benefits with who, like who is a negative correlation to each other and vice versa. And then probably more important would be a NBA Wowie. Some places call it the on-off court tool. Understand usage rates. Usage, an easiest definition would be like the end of a possession, right? So if I took a shot and missed, that still counts towards usage. You want to attack players that have higher usage, obviously, because more usage means more opportunity to accrue fantasy points. So in this case, we're going to look up the Kings, and we're going to see how this team flows with Fox and Sabonis on the court. And we want to look at usage, and we want to look at fantasy points per minute. So 22% usage rate essentially for Domantas Sabonis here. De'Aaron Fox at 28.3% usage. And then the assist rates are high as well. So even though the Fox is winning the usage battle, Sabonis has more a higher assist rate. So it's not necessarily negatively correlated to play these guys together because their assist rates are well into the 20s. So I do think I'm going to have plenty of lineups tonight that feature both these guys, and then the per minute production as well is good as well. So like a defensive rebounds don't really impact the usage numbers. So a lot of times you'll see centers with 15 to 18% usage rates, but they're still monster per minute producers. Well, that's because they rebound or stock at a high clip. But in this case, if Kevin Huerter and Monk, everybody was in, Fox and Sabonis stand out a lot. Huerter has logged a ton of starting minutes, so it is worth taking him off this split as a brace yourself, being prepared for what would happen if Huerter does get rolled out. And if that happens in just 100 minutes of sample size, not a ton, we see Sabonis stick around at 1.3 fantasy points per minute, and Fox scored a 1.2, and his use is still at 28. So not necessarily a massive effect through and through, but logistically it makes sense. A guy like Huerter represents, what do we say, third most points per game on the team, 15.6. So those are shot attempts that probably have to go somewhere. A couple more for Fox, maybe a couple more for other people on the team, and then whoever slides into that starting lineup. Because even though Terrence Davis started last time in this scenario, there's probably still a range of outcome for Malik Monk to start in that spot if Monk was in. So, and if that was the case, I think it's just a 1-to-1, and we're just hoping for bigger minutes. Make sure you're checking ownership. Yeah, ownership is very, very important from a DFS strategy and game theory standpoint. Once you've done the research, and almost like you could skip a lot of the research if you have a trusted projection source. Let's just say I was just a run-of-the-mill DFS player and I bought a stochastic membership. I think I can get by just fine on ownership projections and fantasy projections I'm just a nerd that loves to analyze games, so I do the extra step. But this is all unnecessary in the grand scheme of things every night. If I'm being honest, you literally could get by not watching the games. But I just have a passion for it, so I do it. But yeah, that's the fantasy projection ownership pivots. That's the easy street. What up, Charles? Hit the like button. Yeah, man, hit the like button. 42 likes. It'd be cool to get to 100. I don't think we're gonna get to 100 here, but that'd be cool. I don't know, 70 likes. I'll be here for that. So I've been casting. Stochastic changed my life. Stochastic is a monster, man. They just cover everything. It's so good. All right. So if Herter did play, and usually I don't expect to have Utah game news by the time main slate locks, I will hold out and say I think today it's at least possible, because this game's only an hour after the other games lock. Remember, we do get an extra hour today versus the normal lock time, so I think there is a chance that we might have Herter and Monk news. So we'll hold out for that, and hopefully we do. It would be at least convenient for both of them to be out, but at least one of them to be out. And then we can, get some hunches, because Terrence Davis at min price is crazy. On the Jazz side, Mike Conley, I believe when I looked earlier, had a lot of ownership attached to his name. That makes sense. Colin Sexton's still down. And if you look at this, Sexton's averaging 24 minutes per game, 14 points per game, and a 23% usage rate. So that's got to go somewhere. It looks like Conley, at last glance, was one of the higher owned players on the slate. And so are a lot of the Utah players. Actually, four of the top 5 were Utah Jazz players. So this is the game. This is the team that's going to shape the slate's success and results from this far out. Conley's at 5,300 on DK. Hard to get away from a solid per minute projection for him. It's worth going to pull up a Utah on-off court check. We'll put Conley on. We'll make sure that maybe we look at Utah props on PrizePicks. We'll take off Colin Sexton, and we'll leave Clarkson on. To subscribe to you today, I appreciate that. How often do I do these videos? I try to do them every day, but there are days that we can't. And then I purposely try to schedule my stuff to not be competing with anyone stochastic. So that way there's, I don't know. But the schedule for this month and hopefully this year is we want to do first look live streams at night, but that time is going to be flexible because the games are so late, and I'll try to get guests. And then usually the time slot is 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central for this. But since today was an hour later and just a 3-game slate, I went live an hour later. But typically we'll try and have that stuff scheduled. We do have a free Discord for this channel. Let's see, which is this one. And then I'll usually drop announcements in there. So whenever I'm on, it don't matter what if I'm on this channel or on Stochastic, I drop a video in there with a tag. And tomorrow's what, Wednesday? So I think, tomorrow I think I'm clear to be back on this channel again tomorrow. So ways you can be alerted, or if you follow me on Twitter. But I appreciate that, Helms. Cash yesterday, OT help. OT bailed me out in single entry. I was gonna profit in multi entry no matter what, but I was like the bubble boy before double OT in the I got bailed out because I had in that lineup Dante DiVincenzo and Anthony Lamb. Ran a quarter tourney every night with 10 lines, getting to the top one trial, but not the profit when I get a good night on 2 lines that did it for me. Yeah, that's a good way to baby step into a process, Ego. I've said it time and time again. The quarter arcade is harder to win than the bigger ones. The more number of entries, I think the more outlandish the top lineups tend to be. So you can take a couple of those down, work your way up. You can definitely get there, climb that ladder. Clarkson, Conley on, Sexton off. Conley 0.9 fantasy points per minute. Clarkson same usage rates, 17% on Conley. Jordan Clarkson 25%. So here's an incredible example of where usage rate doesn't always mean incredible stable production. 25% usage rate in this split for Clarkson and just a 0.89 DraftKings points per minute usually means he's not shooting very efficiently, but he's still shooting. So let's see if we can find an example of this. It looks, the last couple games have been fine. All right, 8 for 21. That's a little rough, tough matchup. 15 for 26, whatever. 0 for 7 from 3, 1 for 7 from 3, 1 for 9 for 3. Yeah, so scoring dependent guys might show some examples like that, but 0.9 fantasy point per minute is still worth attacking on a guy that might play 37, 38 minutes. Right now I have Clarkson at 35 minutes, and at 7K, let's get knocking on the door about 40 fantasy points. I'll take that on a 3-game slate at 7K all day long, all day strong. And then looking back at that Wowie, 1.2 fantasy points per minute on DraftKings for Larry Markkinen, 1.16 on FanDuel, 26% usage rate. Going to be looking at him quite a bit. And then the assist rate, 35% for Mike Conley. So that's what's keeping him afloat on a 17% usage rate. What is Conley's... Does Conley have an assist profit on PrizePicks? 7.5. That's probably very fair. He's averaging 7.5 on the season. We take out Colin Sexton. Sexton averages almost 3 assists per game. So I don't know that we're going to stretch his minutes any further, because I do think we do have some... we still have plenty of people that can ball handle. We know Clarkson will ball handle and stagger while Conley's off and like Malik Beasley comes on. But that's at least a good sign for DFS that he has such a high projection. But I don't disagree with any of the ownerships there. I think all the Utah Jazz are looking reasonable. I think this game looks very stackable. And I think that's how I'd probably attack single entry from the last ownership look. Let me look on FanDuel, because that's where I play way more single entry. On FanDuel, Sabonis is right around Giannis's ownership. So and De'Aaron Fox, where is he at? Because I think I would start a lineup with Fox and Sabonis. It seems to be the most positively correlated, highest floor to ceiling ratio of any two players. Control F Fox. 27%. So it's right there with it. So 27% on a 3-game slate. It's not as intimidating as a bigger slate. So that's probably where I want. NAW is a nice value play. You think so? I'm for 12 minutes right now. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me see. NAW played 19 minutes in that last outing. Hey. Mike Soares, I appreciate that sub, man. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're doing all right. Happy New Year. 19 minutes. It's not blowing me away, Helms, but I do think you can make a couple ugly clicks at as obscure value, but I probably wouldn't get there with any high level of confidence for any particular reason. Also, I clicked the wrong. I'm on the wrong date too, right? Let's go to the last game. Is there a 1-to-1 benefit of Sexton being out to him? NAW was a straight up DNP last game, and Sexton played. So maybe with Sexton down, we can give it NAW some minutes, but I still think it looks like we're taking a risk no matter what. NAW and Taylor Horton Tucker seem to be those risky clicks. So I don't have a reason to be on NAW, but if you got that feeling in your bad knee, I wouldn't talk you off the ledge. Is Stochastic that good? My first time hearing about them. You've never heard about Stochastic? That's crazy. That's like the Walmart of supermarkets, bro. Maybe you've heard of them as Awesemo. They were Awesemo and made a brand change. Yeah, I think they're really good. I think they're an incredible resource. I think what's the most valuable about their product, and this isn't a stochastic sponsor stream or nothing, so I don't know. What's most valuable about them is they have so many people part of that team, and so many great minds. So having access to those guys in like a Discord, and then having projections that are modeled after what they do, yeah, they're really good. The ownerships, I think, is what really I use the most over there. Really good. Anything else I missed in chat? Still call them awesome. It's still awesome to me. I guess we're kind of at a standstill until we get news. I guess Malik Beasley was somebody I did want to look at a little bit without Sexton. Beasley 18, 23, 23 minutes last couple games, 26, 20, 12, 22, 36. So range of outcomes for him seems to be decent enough. If I look at the advanced portal, Malik Beasley has a 21% usage rate when he's on the court. That's, I believe, the highest of any of the potential bench players today. And shoots 8.5 3-point attempts per game, which is nuts. Hits at a 37% clip, which is very usable. And in this particular matchup, I guess the Kings don't bleed points via the 3-ball as much, but the volume, right? The volume is enough for me to want to be there. 8, 7, 8, 11, 3, 3. So if we lose a guy like Sexton, or with knowing that a guy like Sexton's out, maybe we can beef up minutes just a little bit more. And I think Malik Beasley looks like he's going to be one of my favorite value plays per se on the slate. So just wanted to shout that out. And I have him right now for a little over 20 fantasy points on both sites. So we look at the soft projections and sort from greatest value to least. Of course, Jalen Williams is up there. F me. How far down before we get to Malik Beasley? I guess we go a decent distance. I guess let's do this a little bit better. Let's go like anything under 5K. How far for under 5K? I'm about halfway down. So just under 5x return on the price point via the projection. Robert Williams projecting second. He could not play. Horford's projected third, and I think that that just helps me like Horford a little bit more. So it's gonna be a yuck click. Grant Williams is up there. Those are definitely guys in the basket for me. Front court against the Thunder. Thunder really don't have like a true center to be scared of. And then a lot of OKC, and I really don't want to have to play OKC, but I do concede that almost min-price Jalen Williams as a center has a chance. I really don't want to do it. Hachimura is somebody I did mention that I liked. Okay. Pace up for Beasley. Yeah, I do like Beasley. All right, let's resort that for the Vipers. All right, guys, you got anything else? 4:37. We've been on for about an hour. We can get out of here if not. Tonight. So because this slate ends probably earlier than usual, 9 Eastern, so 8 might be over. It might be wrapping up about 10 my time. I reached out to Chronic to see if he wanted to get down for tomorrow. But anybody on the late games playing tomorrow? Utah, Sacramento? No. Sacramento does play tomorrow. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that. So we'll do a live stream tonight. Be flexible in the time, but I'll probably aim for something around 11 Eastern-ish. We'll see. I'll give it Chronic. If Chronic wants to play, I'll cater to his schedule. But we'll hang out tonight, and then we'll take our first look at tomorrow's slate, and then hopefully tomorrow we can launch the prop show. Looking for looking to get that going around lunchtimes, and then we'll do the live stream tomorrow, likely at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, and we'll work. That one's the most concrete of them all, you know. What up, Justin Jennings? Hope you're doing all right. What about Grant Williams? I love Grant Williams. So right now, if I had to come up with a list, Horford, Grant Williams, Malik Monk, not Malik Monk, Malik Beasley. Those were the guys that were standing out as like feeling him a bad knee type of stuff. And I think Grant Williams. Oh, and Rui Hachimura. I don't mind getting to him a little bit, but I think with Bradley Beal back, there's enough trickle down that maybe not as strong of a play, but I do like the thought of Rui Hachimura and his ceiling as of late. Dude, we're at 200. What? You guys are the best. Always see Osmo Chipotle near the top of the leaderboard, play max lineups every contest. Yeah, those are known goats. There's a lot of goats, but yeah, those are known goats. Osmo especially. Are you guys like new? Like Helms, how long have you been playing DFS? Because I feel like I don't get to interact with new players that much, and it is refreshing to see some new blood per se. Feels like most of the new players or people that have that itch just go straight to sports betting or PrizePicks. But you guys are mentioning like known goats, like that's just, you click a contest, you just expect to see those guys, right? Chipotle's a goat. His brother plays too, right? Papa Gates. Who else? At the top of the DraftKings leaderboard yesterday, there were so many sharks that are just legends in the industry. So, but if you're newer, it's crazy to see the evolution, right? of a new player turning into, started playing last year. Okay, so you're still a little bit fresh. Yeah. Okay. OGs, right? Just heard her out. Eric right now, he's questionable with the back thing. We can see if there's been any news on Kevin Herter. I don't believe so. Derrick Rose questionable, will be topping. Cody Martin, blah blah blah. Nothing for today, right? No news yet for today. But right now, Herter's questionable. He's only missed one game, so usually if he can play, he can play. And same with Malik Monk. Mock Levin, Utica, yep, goats. Actually, I think I read a tweet from Dan back earlier. It said Utica was the tournament player of last year. Blender does content. He's funny. A lot of them, yeah. Sharks is what I call it, right? They're grinders, man. They're gamers. All right, cool. So let's reconvene tonight. Twitter.com/Gundacker. If you guys got anything else for me. We'll be back mañana. Hey, don't forget, the All-Star Break Pass is up for RunDFS.com VIP. So after the stream, I'll be in the Discord hanging out. Today's a little bit more laid back, 3-game slates, a bunch of yuck. Tomorrow's when it really steams up in the bigger slates. So if you guys want to use the spreadsheet, the projections, the expedited research process, blah, 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 go to RunDFS.com, get yourself signed up. And then the VIP to the All-Star Break for baseball in July, I believe it's July 11th, that just launched this morning. And that comes with a $100 credit towards Fantasy Cruncher. And then, of course, the year pass, still a lot of value on that. $150 credit towards Fantasy Cruncher. So get in the game. And yeah, that'll be it, man. I appreciate you guys. If you would, hit that thumbs up on your way out. Double check, see if you're subscribed. We hit over 8K subs last week. And now the grind to 9K begins. It's a crazy world. If you don't do nothing else today, tell somebody out there you love them. I love you. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.